All right, let's see if I'm on here. Then we'll get started right away. All right, great. Welcome everybody. For those who are new, my name's Robert O'Keefe. I'm the creator and founder of Over 55 NJ. Our mission is to help people make educated decisions when it comes to downsizing solutions. We started this company and this kind of website just to help people in a very no pressured way start doing research, answering their questions. We find if we niche down like this, we can help people kind of cut through the fluff and cut through 80% of the work. So it's a lot of fun for us. We love getting to know everybody. We love the business building part of this and kind of like game planning of a future relocation. I was speaking to someone today who had a plan of relocating to South Carolina, and we were just talking about how tough the winters are here, especially this winter. This winter was brutal, but we were just we came to the conclusion, just talking to each other, that moving's a lot of work, and it's just not that easy just to pack up wherever you're going, especially to South Carolina. And the internet and social media just makes it feel so easy, right? But there's a lot of things to do, and there's a lot of things to get situated, especially as we age and get older. So we have a lot of topics. We do a weekly webinar every week on Thursday. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to start planning ahead. If you want to go to our website, you can go to over55nj.homes or www.rockrealty.com. And you can start saving listings, start plugging in your search criteria. You can set up an email digest for yourself and start kind of window shopping and start getting some ideas. We welcome you to do that. You can also email us at over55nj@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Now, today we have a very special topic, one that I really like. And basically, it's how to help aging parents downsize. So we have a lot of folks in here that have parents that are aging, a lot of parents that are downsizing themselves. So we're going to give you some tools and some strategies and some things to think about when you start having these conversations, when you start talking about these things. I was talking to someone just yesterday, actually, and he wanted to stay close. He was looking to downsize himself, but he also had an elderly mother he takes care of, wanted to be close to her. So we're talking about plans for him, but also we're going to future plan and give him some ideas for his mother as well, for basically when her time is to either make her next step or just kind of figure out what's next. So there's a lot of things to think about here. And we're going to give you some strategies and some tools just to make the process a whole lot easier. We're just going to break it down very simple. We're going to give you three very good strategies, some examples. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments here. We'll go through them one by one. And don't worry, this video is going to be recorded, so you could always go back and watch later. And feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Now, the first strategy is start with conversations and not decisions. I'm reading a book right now. I have two little sons, and one of the things boys' brains do that are different from girls' brains are we tend to kind of go to the strategy and solution planning first rather than having a conversation. So I think that no matter what sex you are, we kind of have a tendency to do that when it comes to our parents. And sometimes we miss the fact that our parents raised us and they're the reason we're here today. So what a lot of times we see and kind of a mistake people make is jumping right into the solution, saying, "Hey, mom, dad, look at this, do this." Whereas it's a little bit easier just to have a more gentler conversation, talk to them about what they're feeling, and then just kind of easing into it a little bit. So instead of just jumping into it and problem solving, it's a lot easier just to have some conversations. For assisted living, that's very common as well. We work with a great resource, Bridget Irvin. Bridget by your side, she's a member of this Facebook group. And Bridget's kind of a great kind of third-party resource if you have to have some more difficult conversations. One of the things she has is a driving test. So if you have an elderly parent that you think that you're concerned about getting behind the wheel, she has actually a test actually for your parents. So that's kind of third-party data source where you can just have your parent run through that test and you have actually, some evidence there just to back up your decisions and your recommendations. But having a third party like Bridget is just really great in a lot of cases. Basically, she could talk to you, she can make a third party assessment. It's not just you coming, it's not going to be perceived as you just like prescribing something or just detailing a solution. Just having another party there with an expert opinion can do wonders in a lot of cases, especially if you're in an assisted living situation. So if you want to message her, I'm sure she'd love to hear from you. She is a great resource for us. We trust her with placing a lot of our clients in assisted living facilities, and just a great resource and cuts out 90% of the work. So a fantastic resource to have. Shout out to Bridget. So very important just to start talking about just kind of these discussions, and instead of just asking questions, start asking questions. How are you feeling in the house these days is a good one. Are you managing everything? This winter was brutal. The snow removal was tough. What do you plan? What are your plans to do next year when it comes to the snow removal? I was speaking to someone today that just did all the snow removal by himself. Believe it or not, he actually had to solicit a neighbor to come help him. And a lot of people we speak to have really great neighbors that can help them, but suppose that neighbor is no longer available. Suppose they have a conflict. What are you going to do? These are all very important questions to talk about with your parents as you start to game plan and start to think towards the future. Things tend to get a little bit more complicated as we get older and as the future progresses. You never know what's going to come around the corner. Another good one is, what do you want your next chapter to look like? Kind of have them paint a picture for you. And then that's kind of like a simple question where you can kind of get some ideas and kind of see where their head's at. Some people would want to stay in their home forever. Some people may want to change. So that's kind of like a direct question just to see where they're at, and very straightforward question. You can kind of see what they're feeling and then start to discuss solutions together. And then finally, what are some of your concerns about moving? This kind of puts the objections and some of the challenges on the table. You can kind of see what you're thinking, and you can consult us as well, so we can work around those challenges. Some of these things seem a little bit more bigger than our heads. You'll be surprised. A lot of kind of younger families are paying big money for houses where you don't have to fix a lot of things to get a home ready. So that's where we come in, where we can consult with you, look at the home, and kind of answer any concerns that you may have about leaving, whether you're leaving yourself or whether one of your aging parents is moving out of their house. So very important just to have these conversations, put everything on the table, write everything down. You'll be surprised how often sometimes we'll forget things. And if you just have your phone out, you're taking notes, or you're taking a yellow paper, that's always recommended as well. So first tip is have conversations and try not to diagnose solutions and problem solve right away. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. Thanks so much for everyone for hopping on today. The second one is one of my favorites, is break the process into small, manageable steps. So I really like this one. And I always like the quote that says, if you want to eat an elephant, start with one bite at a time. If you just list a whole bunch of steps, like moving could be very just overwhelming. But if you break the process down into steps, it becomes not just a little bit more manageable, but even exciting to cross things off the list. That's always a great feeling, is just accomplishing things. And it could be something small. It could be cleaning out this room. It could be donating this. Just could be anything small, just doing some landscaping outside. Just crossing things off the list can do a whole lot of good to your confidence, but also get you excited about your future plans. So one of the things we do is we are happy to take a look at your home, just go through it and give you a list ourselves. We're very good note takers, so we'll give you a very detailed plan step by step. If you want to have a virtual consultation, we're happy to do so. Sometimes that's an easier step than having us come in person to the home. Sometimes people don't want to have someone come into the home right away for whatever reason. We could do this virtually, and we can give you kind of like a step-by-step plan to start working on. And what's really exciting about this too is you'll be surprised about how little work you'll have to do to start preparing yourself. It's pretty often in sales that we tell people that you could just leave a lot of the big things in the house and you don't have to worry about getting all this stuff out. I was helping a good family friend. He was preparing his parents' home for sale. They had left already. They were moved into assisted living facilities. And he was so worried about just kind of all the stuff he had in the house. So I basically we just did a virtual consultation. We walked through the home together, and basically we came to the determination that you could just take out a lot of the small stuff and leave a lot of the bigger stuff. It's pretty often that buyers even want this stuff. You'll be surprised what some buyers want. Furniture is very expensive these days, and even if your furniture is a bit old, a lot of buyers may like that, where you don't have to stress about just throwing everything down on the curb, getting someone to pick it up or haul it away. So, long story short, you'll be surprised about how little you'll think you'll have to do just to get things ready. But it just comes from an expert opinion. We're happy just to consult with you to take a look at your home and just give an individual assessment based on where you're at and where you are at and your whole process. So, one of my favorite steps, break the process down into small, manageable steps. We have endless projects in our business, and this is kind of what we always do: is we try and just chunk it down a little bit and go step by step. Once you get on a roll, you'll be how fast you'll be. It's pretty amazing how easy it is to get going. Now, last is talk about the gaining and the benefit, not just what they're leaving behind. A lot of our parents have memories in the home. A lot of people never envisions themselves moving, but there's a lot of benefits sometimes, in many cases, to plan a next step. Could be even exciting. I was speaking to someone last week who kind of felt stuck. They were in their home for over 20 years, but just kind of like needed a change, needed some excitement. So you'll be surprised like how exciting it is once you start planning and start getting some ideas on the table, especially on our site where you can see the homes, so you can kind of research the areas. We have a wealth of information out there. There's a lot of exciting things to plan in the next step. For practical reasons, let's say if you have a parent that's looking for an assisted living, you'll be just amazed in how basically satisfied how easy it is. We see people move into assisted living facilities. They never have to go to the doctor again. Sometimes you just wait for a long time for a doctor, in some cases, almost over an hour. So the doctor comes to you. There's hair salons there, there's movie theaters. You just never really have to leave. And best off, we were working with someone that had a tax bill, insurance bill, landscapers, things of that nature. One of the best things to leave in is you just pay one bill in these cases. So one bill and you're done. You never have to leave. Doctor comes to you. There's a lot of benefits to doing that, socialization, and very important there. So talk about the benefits, no matter what it is. We can kind of give you a list of benefits, pros and cons. Everything has pros and cons for each type of living solution. But talk about the benefits there. Once you have the conversations, once you see where your parents at, once you kind of like break it down into small steps, the benefits and at the end is kind of like the catalyst that gets things going, the motivation. So, moving can be always a challenge. Myself, no matter what age you are, it's never that easy. But if you go step by step, if you lean on us as a resource, it becomes a lot easier. Just remember, just have conversations, don't diagnose. 2 is break things down into easier chunks, go step by step. And 3, focus on the benefits of what it can mean to your loved one. And so, as always, we always invite you to reach out to us. If you have a topic that you want covered, feel free to do so as well. We're very grateful for our community here. It's an honor to serve as a resource for you. And we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Just let us know what you want covered. If you want to reach out to us, please do so at over55nj@gmail.com. Send us a direct message. We're very easy to find. And we'll see you on the next video. We'll see you next Thursday. Spring weather is right around the corner. Thank God. Looking forward to that. I hope everyone has a great weekend. We'll see you on the next video.